And we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to say thank you so much for joining us this evening for our new parent virtual orientation meeting. I'm going to hand it off to our superintendent, Dr. Ronnie Knox, and he'll make some introductions before we get started. Go ahead, Dr. Knox.
Thank you, Mrs. Hernandez. Well, I want to echo Mrs. Hernandez. Thank you so much for taking time out to join us tonight for our new parent orientation. However, I see some familiar faces out there in the crowd as well. I want to introduce two very important people that when you call our office in Huntsville, they're the ones you usually talk to. The first one is our district registrar, PEMS clerk, and really helps me out a lot is Rebecca Carruthers. Rebecca, if you'll wave at everybody. And then Rebecca, help me. I haven't seen Ovita yet, but Ovita is what I call the voice of Sam Houston. She's the one that answers the phone when you call our office. So hopefully she'll jump on in just a minute. And of course, you met Mrs. Hernandez, our principal for the district. And we have 4 campuses across the district. Mrs. Hernandez serves as the principal for all 4. Tonight, we're going to give you the 300-foot view of our district. So I encourage you, if you've got questions that be something that involves district-wide questions, please put those in the chat box, and between Rebecca and Mrs. Hernandez and myself, we'll try to answer those before we end tonight. If you have campus-specific questions, you're going to get an opportunity to ask those at our before school meet the teacher night. And that way you can sit down with your teacher, you can learn all the campus-specific rules, all the classroom-specific rules, and also have a chance to ask any questions you may have as far as functioning on that particular campus. First topic I wanted to touch on tonight are enrollment packets. You know, we sent out an email with this invitation for tonight's meeting asking to get those in, and you guys have done a great job. We've received a lot of packets this last week, so it's kept Rebecca and Ovita quite busy. But we didn't receive all of them. And some of the comments I received was, I don't have all the documents. I'm waiting on a birth certificate. I'm waiting on a utility bill or something like that. What we want you to do is send in what you have. In order for us to keep your spot, we have to have some kind of indication that you want your spot. And the enrollment packet is the best way for us to maintain that spot. So if you haven't sent anything in yet to Rebecca, send that in, whatever you have, even if it's just the enrollment paperwork, but not the documents yet, just so Rebecca can get a study of that. On April 29th, real important date, we're going to have to release spots that haven't been spoken for. We're not allowed by charter school rules to hang on to spots if we've got waiting lists for those positions. So if you can just get that in, please don't hesitate to call us or email us, letting us know you're having trouble. And if you have documents that you don't want to take up to in the mail or email or anything like that, if you'll let Rebecca know which of our campuses is closest to you, you can drop those documents off there, and then I'll collect them and take them to Huntsville. But real important that we get those enrollment packets in so that we can make sure that we hold that spot for your student. Before I turn it over to Mrs. Hernandez and she goes into the gist of the program, I once again want to thank you for choosing us. We know that you have a lot of choices for education in the greater Houston area. And I am just so thrilled every time we get parents, especially the new crop of parents that come in, because we get a chance to hopefully impress you, but also make you part of our charter family. And I think if you talk to any of our current families, they'll let you know we're small, but we're close. And like all families, you know, we got some dysfunction going on, so that's okay too. but we really, really appreciate you attending tonight. So Mrs. Hernandez, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Knox, and welcome again, everybody. It's so good to see you. Definitely see some familiar faces. Can you, I don't know if you guys know how to do this, but there's a way to do reactions on your chat box. But if you are a kindergarten parent, could you give me like a thumbs up or like some kind of a indicator? Because if you're doing this as a kindergarten parent for the first time, this is exceptionally exciting, maybe a little nerve-wracking too. Good. Wow, lots of kindergarten parents. Good to see that. Welcome. So maybe you have a kindergartner coming to our charter school as well as an older sibling. But if this is your first time to a public education experience completely, I want to assure you that you are making a good choice for your child. I have a kindergartner starting kindergarten for the first time, and he will be coming to the Sam Houston State University Charter School. So I can assure you, you're making a wonderful choice for your family. We are small. Sometimes people think small means not as bona fide, but we are small on purpose, because as a parent that has worked in the education system for the last 12 years, that is one thing that I have learned, is that small means like intimate and personal, and we are not an institution, we are a tribe, and you are bringing your child somewhere very special where they will be loved very, very well. We are uncommon. You know, while we are small and personal and children get an individualized experience, we still have very high academic expectations for our students. So there's some spots on our website where you'll be able to see that, you know, because we are a public school, we have to follow a lot of the same guidelines that any other traditional school district would for the Texas Education Agency. So things like charting early childhood literacy, students at risk of dyslexia, early achievement indicators, as well as STAR test achievement later on in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. We have to do all those same compliance measures, and our students perform very well in all of those progress monitoring metrics. So, you know, we're comparable right up there with big successful districts as well as small intimate private schools. Lots of academic excellence in kindergarten through 6th grade for us. Our teachers also really focus on whole child development, though, because kids are so much more than just a data point and achievement. We're trying to grow the whole child into a lifelong learner, to be a successful member of society. So, you know, we do that through a lot of project-based learning, hands-on activities. Kids learn through stations and cooperative learning and critical thinking. So they're, you know, they might be getting some worksheet, paper, pencil activity in there somewhere, but then later on in the week, they're putting it into application, seeing how it would look in a real world setting, and having to work with their peers on finding solutions to problems. And then, you know, our teachers are very geared towards social, emotional develop relationships too. So I like to tell people that all of our teachers, I like teachers that love kids. So that's a primary priority for us, I guess. And we have very highly qualified teachers that have high expectations, but are also great at fostering relationships with kids. I want to address the ways in which we are different from a traditional school district, though. So most of you are probably zoned to a large Spring ISD or Klein ISD. It's really, really important at this meeting. Like Dr. Knox said, we're looking at the 300-foot macro picture here. Something you need to take away is the way our academic calendar differs from those big districts, because you'll hear all your other friends talking about like, oh, our return to school date is at the end of August, and we have spring break on this week. That is the main way we are different from traditional school districts, is we follow a year-round academic calendar. So you need to grab a piece of paper and a pencil and write this down, please, 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 please. Our first day of school is July 20th. July 20th. Some people are like kind of scared about that because, oh, we planned all this summer travel. I don't even, you know, don't have time to take my kids school shopping before that. But that year-round calendar is phenomenal. Our teachers love it, students love it, because it really helps contribute to sustained learning throughout the year. So we get a shorter summer break. Our summer break is only like 6 to 8 weeks sometimes, but we get really long breaks throughout the year. We get a 2-week fall break at the end of September. We get a 3, sometimes 4-week winter break in December. We get a 2.5-week spring break in March. And so it actually facilitates much better travel for your family. You can go to Disney World when it's not peak travel hours for everyone else. And, it gives kids and teachers those breaks that they need kind of to just rest and recoup. And then, then they're not spending a 3-month-long summer break forgetting what they learned the whole first year in advance. But it's very important you take that away, that our school year starts July 20th. If you have any questions about that, feel free to put it in the chat. I can also I can show you where to find the district calendar. Maybe we should email that out, Dr. Knox, when we send this recording out to everyone. We'll also link the district academic calendar. Somebody asked about start time. So our school day runs from 8 a.m. to 3:30, but arrival starts at 7:45. So you would drop your child off in between 7:45 and 8 a.m. And then at their dismissal goes from 3:30 to 3:45. Different campuses have some different offerings about what kind of before care or after care options you have. Because we're a public charter school and we're so small, we don't provide school bus transportation. So parents or relatives or car friends, we all, are responsible for getting students to and from school. But if you need a before care option where you can drop your student off at 7:15 or even earlier in some locations, you can do that. If you reach out to our central office, they'll be able to tell you which campuses offer before care and after care from those school hours. I see a question, are start times the same? Yes, every campus technically starts arrival at 7:45 and starts school at 8 o'clock. But if you need a before care option, so you can drop them off maybe at 7:15, or some of our campuses even will start before that. But you would need, that's kind of campus specific information. You would need to reach out to our central office to see what campuses provide what before care and after care hours. So let me go back to that academic calendar real quick, because I was talking about the July 20th start date. Because we are a public school and we're required to facilitate open enrollment for students on the wait list, it's really imperative you get your student to school that week. July 20th is a Wednesday. Some families are still planning travel during that time, but if your child does not come to school on the 20th, 21st, or 22nd, then I cannot guarantee that they'll still have a spot on Monday the 24th. Is it the 24th? 25th. Am I missing anything, Dr. Knox? Do you want to share anything about academic calendar?
No, in the way that our calendar is developed, because we're actually in 3 different school districts, we try to take into effect when the other districts are doing spring break, but we have to go off of when the university does spring break. Usually that 2 weeks we take off for spring break captures when the other districts are doing their spring break. We take a really long Christmas break, and of course the fall break is really nice as well. I just encourage you, if you are one of those parents and families that scheduled vacation, you didn't know we start July 20th, give us a call, okay? Don't sit in silence. Give us a call. Let's see if we can work something out. But we are under attendance rules, just like your traditional ISDs are as well.
I want to touch on, somebody commented in here about being so small, glad that we're small and have small classes. We do keep really small classes. All of our campuses only have 1 or 2 classes of each grade level. 1 kindergarten class, maybe 2 at the Brighton location. 1 first grade class, sometimes 2. So the beauty of that is that, everybody knows everybody's name. Like even the parent volunteers, they know every child's name. You're not just a number here. But we cap our classes at 20 students. And if you go to these larger traditional school districts, when you start getting into 5th and 6th grade, I'm hearing things like people have 35, 40 kids in a class, and we only have 20. So, once they get to that level of academic rigor, they need more one-on-one attention with the teacher. So it's really helpful that we have small classes of 20 or less, sometimes even. So definitely not 30 or 40. I'm looking for some other questions here. There is somebody here asking for translation in Spanish, I think, and I'm not able to do that this evening, but I would love to conference with you and help you with a translator if you want that specific information. So I'll give you my contact information so we can set that up one-on-one later on. It's opening at a campus. Okay, good questions. If openings at a campus closer to us open up during the first week, will we be allowed to transfer? So that's actually very common. Parents who live in, maybe you're really close to one campus, you live in close proximity to a specific campus, but it's full and it's your students on the wait list and you're waiting for a spot. What we recommend is that you would put in a request for a secondary campus that might be a little bit of a further drive, but a lot of times there's a lot of mobility throughout the summer, and you might find that yes, you're in the classroom for choice number 2 campus, but once there's an opening in campus 1, you're the first on the list to move over there and take that spot. So please don't be discouraged if your primary campus is waitlisted at this time, or if you're on the wait list, or if you know somebody that wants to get on the wait list. It's very common for there to be some mobility and inter-district transfers, and you could get to the spot in the campus that you want. There are no uniforms, and then there are no uniforms on campus. How do we become a parent volunteer? There is a volunteer background check that we have to do through the university, and you do that, and then you're able to volunteer on campus. Yes, we're going to send an academic calendar for everybody. You see here, there's a question about how is school going for students with English as a second language. So because we're a public school, we have to provide linguistic supports for students that are learning English as their secondary language. We actually have a pretty robust ESL program. We don't have enough students in that to have a bilingual program, but what is it? I think it's something like we have 17 spoken languages in our district right now. So, and we have 37 students that receive those services. So the way we do that is we employ highly qualified teachers that are certified in that area so that they can provide those linguistic supports in addition to their academic and content expertise. But it's within the classroom. They don't get pulled out for that extra service. It's just within the classroom, they're getting the language support. And then any options to choose what subjects for students? No, because we're a public school, we're required to follow the Texas education standards. So every grade level receives the same core content instruction as required in math, science, reading, writing, social studies. And then lunches for kids. Dr. Knox, correct me if I'm wrong. Is every one of our campuses a bring your own lunch?
Yes, at Green Gate Academy, if your child is enrolling there, you have a chance to purchase a meal from the Green Gate Child Care, but that's the only campus. All of our other campuses, the PTOs do Pizza Fridays, or they'll bring in other vendors that you can purchase from on certain days. But typically a normal school day, we're a bring your own lunch day.
Somebody's asking, if your campus only goes K through 6, what happens after? That's a great question. You know, the very first class of students that we started in our school district in 2017 are actually freshmen in high school right now. And so what we've found is when they leave us, and some campuses only go to 5th grade, depending on what school district they're zoned for. But when students leave our district from 5th and 6th grade to join the next step of their schooling, they do very well. Some of our students just enroll in their home school district, like Conroe ISD or Spring ISD, and it can be a little bit of a transition because they're used to being incubated in that class of 20 kids, you know, that are very close and tight knit. Those students end up becoming more like siblings than classmates eventually, but they go into a big school in Conroe ISD and there's like 3,500 kids on campus. So it's definitely a transition, but academically and socially, our students usually perform very well because they've been well cared for while they in those foundational years. Some of our parents decide though that they want to continue with the charter school. So we have, parents that move on to go to SST or Harmony or KIP or another charter school that goes all the way up through 12th grade. We do not go through 12th grade. We stop at 6th grade. Somebody is asking about a sports program. All students get their required Texas TEA required minutes through physical education, usually 3 days a week. Students also get recess and lunch every single day. Recess is usually outside, PE is usually outside unless weather or the heat prevents them from doing those things outside. Some of our campuses will have enrichment programs where like a PTO sponsors like a soccer instructor just come in and teach only soccer for a couple days, but that's, it's kind of unique to each campus. Somebody's asking if there will be a meet the teacher day. Yes, you might want to jot this down too. We haven't scheduled them yet, but our meet the teacher nights will be the week of July 11th. We'll send you more information about that shortly. July 11th, that whole week. We'll have to kind of stagger where our meet the teacher nights are so that Dr. Knox and I can both be at them at all the campuses. Additionally, sometime next week, you will see that we're going to start posting our school supply list. So the website that you go to order your child's school supplies, you can start ordering those probably next week, and those will be delivered to campuses also the week of July 11th. And while we're talking about that, I hope you have our information on on how to get to our district website. Most of our pertinent information can all be found on the district website. I'm going to type it in here. I believe that's it. Does that website even work? Let me make sure that link works. Yes. Okay, that will take you to our website, and that's where a lot of campus-specific pertinent information goes, as well as district information. We also have a Facebook page, a district Facebook page, and then you'll see that some campuses have a PTO Facebook page as well. And then if you think of any questions that you want to ask after this meeting, you can also call our central office. So here's the phone number to get to either Ms. Carruthers or Ms. Woodson in central office. It's 936-294-3347. And they can even tell you how to get in touch with me if you want to set up an additional conference or a follow-up. And like the individual that's asking for Spanish translation services, we can definitely help you with that. When you do come to meet the teacher in July, your child's classroom teacher will give you information for how to sign up for Seesaw. Seesaw is a messaging application system that our teachers use to send and receive messages to parents about what students are doing in school. And then parents can also respond to the teacher and ask questions. Sometimes teachers will, put pictures of what's going on in the classroom. They'll share different activities. Some teachers will even put assignments on that platform for kids to do from home. But Seesaw will be the primary source of communication once your child does start with us in July. Dr. Knox, are you? Yeah, you know what? I'll put this in the chat. Somebody's asking what. There is yes, that is the number to our central office in Huntsville. Dr. Knox, do you want to, you can see some questions I haven't answered? Yeah, there was one, I think you left off after Meet the Teacher Day, microwaves for lunches. It varies by campus. I always want parents to keep this in mind. Lunch is usually about 20 to 25 minutes. If we have 20 students in a classroom and it takes at least a minute to heat up lunch, that's 20 minutes of lunch that went away. So if you can get some of the soup containers or things like that that will keep lunches warm, the kids can bring those. It just depends on the campus and the amount of microwaves that are available. The next question is there a chance you will ever extend to 8th grade? We wish we could right now, but right now the current charter that we're under that was given us from the Texas Education Agency only allows us to go to 6th grade. Sometime in the future, it's going to be couple of years,
that charter comes up for renewal, we may be able to extend it, but right now, 6th grade for the near future is where we're going to have to stop. The reason that is the way it is because when we feed into the local ISDs, usually they start 6th grade as middle school, not elementary school. Conroe does run some of their intermediate schools up to the 6th grade, and that's why we're able to go up to the 6th grade. Another question was, do you have to order school supplies through the campus, or can you provide your own with a list? Where you are, you can bring your own, okay? You're gonna get information from our PTO that you can order through them, and they comes in bundles. It's a little bit cheaper. There are certain things on the list that the teachers want you to get those things, not the off-brand of them. But no, we give you the flexibility that you can go to Walmart and get them on. The beautiful thing about a year-round school, nobody's buying school supplies in June. So you should be able to get plenty of school supplies. The bad thing is nobody's putting school supplies on sale in June. So it's a give and take. That's why the bundles sometimes can save you money. And then, yes, just a verification, the correct phone number to our office in Huntsville, which is our main office, is 936-294-3347. And then next one, did we find out about who our child's teacher is prior to meet the teacher or that day? No, you find out prior, okay? Now keep in mind, some of our campuses don't have 2 2nd grade teachers. So you'll know the 2nd grade teacher just by signing up for that campus. But the campuses there where we have 2 2nd grades and they're self-contained, or 2 3rd grades and they're self-contained, you'll know who your teacher is. A lot of our campuses, for example, Brighton, some of the upper grades at Cypress Trails, and possibly some of the grades at Greengate, they do team teaching. So your child will have an English language arts teacher and a math science teacher, and they team with each other. Will there be a campus-specific parent orientation down the road? Yes, that week of July 11th, you should be getting a notice about when you're going to go to your specific teacher, the date and the time. And they give you a campus orientation that involves understanding our report card. It's a little different than a traditional report card, pick up, drop off procedures, what they expect during lunch. My goal with COVID, hopefully waning a little bit, is we'll be able to open the campus up completely next year and have parent visitors back on the campus. So keep that in mind. Next one, are we able to request a teacher? No, we do not honor parent requests for teachers. It throws off our demographics, our gender, neutral classes, all those things, trying to get those lined out. So we don't honor teacher requests. Is the transition to the ISD automatic, or you have to enroll? You have to enroll, okay? We help you with the process. What happens if you go to a public ISD is you just go and tell them you're withdrawing. This is the school you're going to. We'll get the withdrawal form ready for you to take to the school. Then they'll send a request to us for records. You don't have to carry records to them. What about libraries? Is there one on each campus? We have classroom libraries on campus, and then some of our campuses have what I call a rolling library, where we have several bookshelves and we have parent volunteers that come, and we set up on at least once a week where students rotate through our mobile library and they can check out books. Would you mind talking about campus safety? How do you keep the kids safe? Is there security? We don't have security guards or police officers on our campus, but we have agreements with all the local law enforcement agencies. All of our campuses are locked down. You can't just walk into any of our campuses. Many of our campuses, you'll see key holes, but we don't use keys on them. We use pad swipes or keypad entries. And that's how you get in. You are not allowed to walk directly into any classroom. You have to always check with our entryway, which is usually right there at the front door when you come in. You have to show your driver's license. I always tell parents, if you come see us, check your back pocket, check your purse, make sure your driver's license is there. You're going to be asked for identification. We don't allow our kids outside the buildings without an adult. We don't allow walkers to the school unless they bring an adult. And only one of our campuses is truly a walk to the campus deal. The others, you have to cross major thoroughfares that are unsafe. So we really don't allow walkers. Another thing we don't allow is people to get out of their cars in the car rider line and cut through the car rider line to go pick up their child so they don't have to wait in the car rider line. You have to stay in your car. Most of our car rider lines are done in 10 minutes. If we're doing the job we do, you don't sit out there very long. We load cars really quickly.
Can I speak to that too, Dr. Knox?
Sure.
I just wanted to also tell them our district undergoes internal safety audits annually as well. Like we are constantly reevaluating those systems of, somebody, we want someone to test, make sure that all of those procedures that we've set up as a district are working the way they're supposed to. And we're constantly checking on that because school safety is a priority. Your child's safety is the utmost priority. That's the first priority. Teaching them is the second one. So I want you to know we take that very seriously.
Yes, and I want to emphasize a point on that. Let us test the security. Please don't you test the security because you'll get arrested and that leads to a whole bad thing, okay? But we do have, one of the benefits of being partnered with child care centers there are cameras everywhere. There are cameras inside the building, cameras outside the building. One of our campuses, we received a grant. We're going to put a lot of cameras in there in the next month. And so there are cameras everywhere, outside and inside. I had a parent ask, well, can I get on the camera and see what my child's doing? No, because that kind of violates confidentiality, but I have no problem with you coming up to the school. And most of the time at our campuses, you can stand outside the door without being seen and see what goes in to that. Okay, but security is more than what you probably want. We're very, very conservative with our campuses. And I can tell you this, another thing, you're going to get a form that you list all the emergency pickups for your child that you want. Even if Uncle Billy may pick up Stephen one time every 6 weeks, put Uncle Billy on the list, because if they show up and they're not on the list, you don't get to pick up the children, okay? The next, moving down onto the campus, do all teachers and employees get a deep background check? Extremely deep. We are all actually state employees because we work for the university. So we go through a thorough federal and state background check, as well as fingerprinting and everything.
On that note too, because we're university employees and we're under the guidance of the university, we have to, there's so many more stringent reporting requirements for that. So I don't know if you've ever heard of like charter schools that go out of business because of financial mismanagement. That will never ever happen to us. Like we're so fiscally responsible because we don't just report to the state, we report to the university as well. Same thing with like anything with bullying or sexual harassment. We're extremely thorough because we report to multiple agencies on all of that stuff. So just know we're very organized and student-centered, and your student's best interest is always at heart.
Okay. The next question is, are we peanut free? We're a nut-free campus, not just peanut. There are quote unquote Chick-fil-A days, and we have to separate those kids out, and we're able to do that. But we are a nut-free campus. I've heard of sunflower butter. I've heard of all kinds of alternatives you can send your child with, but we are a nut-free campus.
Dr. Knox, are you sure, are all 4 of our, because I thought that only one of our campuses was peanut free, because we had, I think we need to confirm that, because I don't know if all 4 of them are peanut free.
Okay. All right.
So we accommodate children as best as we can. So if there was a student in that classroom that has a peanut allergy, we share that with the teacher, and that class understands that that student cannot be around those, those things that they're allergic to. So sometimes, depending on the severity of the allergy, that just might mean you give that student a separate table, right? And the other kids don't ever approach that with any kind of peanut allergen. But we really handle that on a case-by-case basis. We're not completely peanut free, but we do take those sensitivities into consideration.
The other thing we want you to know is if your child has an allergy and has an EpiPen, we'd like you to supply us with one. All of our teachers are first aid trained, which means they know how to use an EpiPen. They're trained on AED machines, on how to use those, as well as, any fire safety or anything like that. We don't have a campus nurse all the time. We do use the university's nursing school to give our vision and hearing and things like that. But as far as a full-time nurse, we don't have that. We train our teachers to be that person. Do you guys, I'm sorry, let me get back up here after peanut free. Can you explain what you mean by part of the university? Yes. The charter school is actually a department contained in the College of Education at Sam Houston State University. We are authorized, our charter is authorized by Sam Houston State University. All of our employees are university employees. And so sometimes the rules for the university don't make much sense at the elementary, but we do have to follow them. But it's really helped us as far as research, funding, everything to be connected to a major university in the area. And that's what we mean by partnered.
There's a lot of perks to that too, because yes, we're a small school district and we don't receive all the same funding that these larger school districts do. Like we don't get funded from property tax revenue or from some specific grants that don't go to charter schools. But our relationship with the university is so special because we're so closely intertwined with all the faculty within the College of Ed. So we have a really close relationship with the professor that's over like multilingual TESOL and like multilingual education preparation programs. They really help support us when we have, like I mentioned, we have those 17 different languages in our district. We're able to support those students because of help from those professionals up there. We are also partnering with a lot of literacy faculty that are going to be helping us serve students that either need additional supports in reading and writing, teaching our teachers how to support students with dyslexia. Like we're all about honing the teacher craft, and we do that through those partnerships at the university.
Do you guys offer foreign language classes, Spanish, for example? We had at one time offered Spanish, but when we shifted into what's called a STEAM mentality for our schools, so coding is the language that we offer now, kindergarten through 6th grade. We are looking for platforms to bring in some more foreign language into our specials time. But then again, we need to be able to hire a fully certified Spanish teacher as well. And keep in mind, we have students that speak Mandarin Chinese, Arabic, Farsi, so many different languages that it's hard to just pick one to teach.
Dr. Knox, while you're going through some more questions, can I share the brochure with them? Because it has some of this information that they're asking about. So I'm going to share my screen here because I had some documents I wanted to share with you, and we're going to email these out to you when we send out this video link. We distribute a monthly newsletter. This is our March newsletter where we announced that we were opening a 4th campus on 1960. It has district events dates in here, but I want to show you this blurb right here. And I don't know if you guys can see this, I'll zoom in, but I don't know if you've ever heard of niche.com. They do a lot of reviews for, housing communities and institutions, colleges and high schools. And so we're actually really highly ranked on niche.com. You can look this up. We were ranked the #2 best public elementary school, having the best public elementary school teachers in the Houston area. #4 best charter elementary school in the Houston area overall, and #10 for the best public elementary school for the best teachers in Texas. So that definitely will hopefully share with you that our teachers are excellent. Like, we would not be what we are without our highly qualified teachers. But this is from a third-party vendor that's not affiliated with us at all. Additionally, here I want to show you this recruitment flyer. We have these printed out, but I'm going to share the PDF version of this because it references some of the things we've been talking about, like the 20-to-1 student ratio over here, highly qualified teachers that are certified in the state of Texas, the year-round calendar, and the university partnerships. But then I like this feature right here because this is a map of our 4 campuses. So you can see the purple star is our Brighton campus in the Woodlands. The orange star is our Greengate campus in West Spring. The red star is our Cypress Trails campus in East Spring. And then the blue star is our brand new Spring Woods campus that we're opening, that's enrolling kindergarten through 2nd grade students. So you'll see that our district right now actually has a little bit more open enrollment opportunities than we usually do because we just opened that 4th campus. So typically that, all of our campuses would be full waitlisted or whatever, but we do have some mobility because of that expansion. You'll also probably see, we're going to start posting teacher assignments, what teachers are teaching what grade level at what campus. That goes up on the website on each of the campus specific websites, but you'll see that there's kind of some vacancies in our district because of expansion. We do not have high teacher turnover, but because we're adding a new campus, we're having to move some folks around to make sure that all of our 4 of our campuses are staffed with highly qualified teachers. You were asking about an extension and enrichment. So all students participate in PE 3 days a week. All students participate in art 1 day a week. And then coding and robotics is a 1 day a week as well. And then all students will also participate in a winter music program. And then they do a spring expo, which is more like Dr. Knox was talking about the STEAM emphasis. Like we're very big in the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, the hands-on activities, but applying that in a real world setting. So the spring expo is we use that as like kind of a district science fair / gifted and talented presentation for our students in GT services, but then also like a market day. So students can become entrepreneurs and develop a budget and a product and sell it at the market fair day. So there's a little bit of information about the enrichment that we provide at each campus. And then there's other things in here about our academic excellence and how during the 2021 assessment cycle, our district outperformed the state of Texas average in 17 out of the 18 metrics of the STAR test. So not that the STAR test is everything, but it's a pretty good baseline for how successful our students are academically compared to the state of Texas. So any questions about any of that? I'm going to stop sharing. Dr. Knox, I'll give it back to you.
Okay, well, that led right in. Do we have extracurricular activities? Usually elementary schools don't have like football teams or baseball teams or things like that. We do have a competition robotics team that we're expanding to 2 other campuses. It's for the 4th and 5th graders, but we train them in kindergarten through 3rd grade in how to do the robotics. We're members of the Lego League as we do those things. Is there a nurse on site? No, I mentioned that. We train our teachers to be first aid. If we have a student that gets hurt, the ambulance is the first call and you're the second call. We don't take any chances. Do all classes have student teaching aides to assist lead classroom teachers? We have 3 paraprofessionals on each of our campuses that are fully built out. Some of these paraprofessionals are in their final year of the education program at the university. And so instead of doing traditional student teaching, they spend a year in residency with us. We'll also get traditional student teachers that come in, and we'll work with our main teachers. But our main teachers deliver most of the initial instruction. And then we use the peers for specials or interventions or things like that. Are there any it's the same question. Are there any SHSU student teachers that come into the classroom? Occasionally, we will have someone request that wants a charter school experience to come into the classroom. Again, to go back to security, they all have to be vetted, background checked, and everything. Okay, how do students get from the car to classroom safely? Do the kids group by age and then go together? Is it the same for dismissal? Okay, so you pull up to the parking lot, there are teachers standing out in the parking lot. They open the door, they get your child out of the car. There's a very short walk for most of them, but at the main entrance of the door is another adult or volunteer that takes them and puts them through our COVID protocols. And then they go on to meet their classroom teacher in the classroom. Same thing for dismissal. The kids are brought out either hand in hand with a teacher, or they're assigned to a cone where an adult is standing there and the adult puts the child in the car. So there's never a reason that you have to get out of the car. One of the things I always encourage our kindergarten parents to work on in June is buckling and unbuckling the car seat. Okay, teach your child how to do it, because it holds the line up when you have to get out of the car and buckle up the seat. But how to be safe, we want them in a buckled seat. So please start working on that as you can. Can you elaborate on the coding language courses? Ms. Hernandez, you're our technology expert. Go ahead.
Sure. So that is something that we just started implementing in the last 2 years, because we feel like coding and learning digital literacy is the future, kind of. And it is like learning a new language once you really get into it. So we tailor the coding specials to be developmentally appropriate for each age group. So coding and robotics in kindergarten is going to look different than in 5th and 6th grade. But really, it just starts out with foundational, like manipulating a device or a robot and understanding how to make it follow an algorithm. And that can be conceptually challenging for kindergartners, because you have to steer the robot as the robot, not from your perspective, but from the robot's perspective. So we have some apps that help them with that on their iPad or their Chromebook. All of our students have access to iPads and Chromebooks every day to help, engage with literacy platforms that help with this. But then eventually, it turns into more complex coding. So right now, because our competition uses the first Lego League, we were using We Do kits, and we're transitioning over to the new Spike Prime set. But our students learned their coding language through the Lego applications. But eventually, I would really love to get them doing like Python and Java and all that stuff too. So that process is expanding as the students become more adept at coding language and specials as they age.
Okay. Moving on down, my son has asthma. How would he keep his inhaler? Each of our teachers is trained in how to give medication. And so the inhaler would stay with the teacher in the classroom. We all have locked boxes that we lock up inhalers, EpiPens, and any medications that the child needs to take during school. You will be given a form that you need to complete that gives us permission to administer a medication to your child at school.
Dr. Knox, can I interrupt you? Because this was a direct message to me, so you probably didn't see this. Somebody's asking how much it is to keep a student at SHSU. We're a free charter school, if that's what you're asking. We're a free public school. There is no cost. So it's like you're getting a private school experience for free as a public school. We're like the best kept secret in Houston. Tell your friends. It's free.
Going forward, will we have to reapply each year? No, you won't. It's just a one-time deal. In November, we send out a form called Intent to Re-enroll. You fill that form out, you send it back to us, and it has a yes, I intend to come back next year, or no, I don't intend to come back next year. But that's all we need from you. If you leave the charter school and go to another charter or to another camp at ISD, and you want to come back, then you have to go through the enrollment process again. Okay, but once you're in, you just have to fill out that re-intent form. The next one, so parents cannot walk their children up to the doors to drop off. We usually let, before COVID, on kindergarten parents or first day of school, yes, you could walk your child up. But on a regular basis, depending on the campus, no, we don't like you to get out of your cars and walk across the line. And here's the reason why. You would think that every parent would be extremely cautious in car rider line. But unfortunately, when parents are rushing, they aren't always observant. And we've seen several times where parents had near misses, not only with other cars, but with children trying to go in between the cars. And that's just one of those safety rules that budge on. We're going to take really good care of your child. Now, the one way you can walk up to the door is have your child be late to school. And that's not a good thing. If you're after 8 o'clock, you have to actually park, get out and walk and sign your child in. But I don't recommend that. There are some campuses that do allow children walking to school, not getting out of your car, but actually walking to school. And the campus have designated pickup times for our walkers so that we can make sure that the cars are out of the parking lot and that there is no possible way that we can have an accident, okay? Because that's something you can't undo. Do students take home daily homework or only on the weekends? It depends on the teacher. Some of our teachers will give a homework packet on Monday and it's not due till the next Monday. So you can work on it chunks at a time. Some teachers assign it a bit at a time. It just depends. We're more into read with your child at home and not a bunch of homework assignments, okay? We'd rather they do the hard work with us and have the fun time of reading with you, okay? Will there ever be at-home learning if someone has autoimmune problems or someone gets sick? Okay, if someone contracts COVID, we are allowed by the state of Texas to do what's called remote learning. And we actually have a remote conferencing teacher that works with those students. It's not like full day being in the classroom, but it is to keep them up to date. If a child has an autoimmune disease, then they're probably eligible for either 504 or special education services. And should they have to go on homebound because of doctor's orders, then we can serve them there. If some child is sick and doesn't want to come to school because they're afraid of, and I have a fever, they can't come to school, we're not allowed to do virtual learning for instances like that. Only for doctor's orders, we can put a child on homebound or COVID right now, okay? Are siblings automatically accepted into the program? They are. Now, what happens if there's a sibling and there's no room in that class? Then they go to the very top of the wait list. But normally, let's say we have a 3rd grade student and they have a rising kindergarten student. That kindergarten student doesn't go into the lottery. They automatically go into the class and takes a spot, okay? Let's see, that's the same when they reach kinder, or do they have to see if they get in? Now, siblings are automatically. So you will allow first day walking in for the first time. Yes, it's all dependent on where our community is with COVID. If we're a high risk community of Harris County or Montgomery County are considered risk by the CDC, then we have to revert back to our COVID guidelines, and parents can't come in the building. If we keep trending like we are now, then yes, I can see allowing parents to walk their children in on the first day of school. Okay. I think Mrs. Hernandez, that's all I see in the box right now. Again, if you didn't want to post your question, but you have other questions, email the charter school email or contact Rebecca Carruthers, or raise your hand. I see you down there now and wave to everybody. Miss Woodson, that is Ovita Woodson. That's the voice you hear when you call the phone. So contact one of those two ladies. They can either answer your question or they can get a hold of Mrs. Hernandez or myself. And we're usually pretty good about responding back within 24 hours for sure, okay? And please don't hesitate to ask questions. You can't call us too much and you can't ask us or email us too much, okay? All right, Mrs. Hernandez, I want to turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. So the brochure that I shared with you, and probably I can share the district newsletter as well, just so you have that. I'm going to send those out with you when we share the recording of this meeting. We'll also attach the district calendar so you can start looking at planning your future family dates. And then just make sure you're visiting our website often. If you're on Facebook, please like us on Facebook. We're going to be pushing out lots of updates, like as we hire, onboard, or assign teachers to specific classes or campuses. We want to let you know about those updates as soon as possible. It might be really cool too. I don't know if this is a Ms. Carruthers or a Ms. Woodson question, but if we could start sending our district newsletter out to these folks, like our new parents, not just our current ones, so they can see upcoming events. But I want to thank you all so much for coming. Like I said, I'm so excited for you. Like you're in for such a treat. I'm so excited for my son to start kindergarten with our charter school as well. Like, I think you will not be disappointed. You've made a really good decision. If you think of questions, Facebook page. Let me see if I can find that. Well, you know what? When I share, somebody is asking, where is the Facebook page? When I give you this district newsletter, you can scroll down here. Oh, it's not even on this one. I usually have a QR code on these, so you could just scan the QR code to go to our district Facebook page. I'll put that in the link in the email we're going to send out after this meeting, so you have that too. Okay. Thank you all so much. If you think of additional questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. Okay. Be in touch. Don't be a stranger. Have a good night, everyone.